I can still feel the cool night air on my skin from that rooftop the evening he proposed. It was one of those perfect late spring nights in the city, where the humidity finally breaks and everything smells clean and full of promise. La Vista Rooftop had always been our spot, the place we'd go for anniversaries or when we needed to escape the noise of everyday life. The string lights overhead swayed gently in the breeze, casting soft golden glows across the white tablecloths. The skyline stretched out like a glittering promise, and the distant hum of traffic below felt far away, almost romantic. He had reserved the corner table again, the one with the best view and the most privacy. A bottle of my favorite Chianti was already breathing on the table, 2 glasses poured. We ordered the usual, bruschetta to start, pasta carbonara for me, steak for him, and talked about nothing important. Work gossip, a funny video one of his friends sent, plans for the weekend. It felt normal, comfortable, the kind of evening that reminded me why I'd fallen for him in the first place. 3 years together. 3 years of building something real. We'd met at a mutual friend's housewarming party. He was the guy in the corner laughing too loud at his own jokes. I was the one rolling my eyes but secretly charmed. He chased me for weeks with coffee dates, late-night texts, surprise flowers left at my door. He was ambitious, always talking about starting his own consulting firm someday, traveling the world, building a life that wasn't tied to anyone else's expectations. I loved that fire in him. I loved how he made me feel like I was part of something bigger. We finished dessert, tiramisu shared with 2 spoons, and he went quiet. Not the awkward quiet, but the kind that makes your heart skip because you know something big is coming. He reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a small black velvet box, and slid to one knee right there on the rooftop tiles. The ring was stunning. Platinum band, solitaire diamond that caught every light and threw it back like tiny stars. He looked up at me with those hazel eyes I'd stared into 1,000 times, voice low and thick with emotion. "Alina," he said, "you've been my best friend, my partner, my everything for 3 years. I don't want to spend another day without knowing you'll be mine forever. Marry me, please." Tears came instantly. Happy ones. The kind that blur everything but make the world feel sharper at the same time. I nodded, whispered yes over and over, pulled him up into a kiss while the other diners clapped and cheered. Someone sent over champagne. We laughed, toasted, took selfies with the ring sparkling under the lights. That night we stayed up until dawn in his apartment, tangled in sheets, dreaming out loud about venues in Tuscany. A small wedding with just family and close friends. Kids someday with his smile and my stubborn streak. It felt like the beginning of the rest of my life. 2 weeks later, he disappeared. It started small. A text I sent at lunch, "Thinking about you, can't wait for dinner tonight," left undelivered. I figured he was in a meeting, he was always busy with client calls. By evening, still nothing. Calls went straight to voicemail after one ring. Social media showed activity, stories of him at a gym, a coffee shop, but I was blocked from viewing them. The blue checkmark next to his name mocked me every time I refreshed. The next morning, I drove to his apartment building. His roommate, Jake, answered the door looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Alina, hey. He moved out last night." "Moved out to where?" Jake shrugged, eyes on the floor. "Didn't say, just packed a duffel and left, said something about a fresh start. I'm sorry, he didn't tell me much." No forwarding address, no note left for me, nothing. I stood in the hallway feeling the world tilt. The ring on my finger suddenly weighed 20 pounds. The humiliation crashed over me like cold water. We'd told everyone. Posted those engagement photos, me glowing, him kissing my cheek, caption, "Forever starts now." Likes poured in from friends, family, coworkers, comments. "You two are perfect. Wedding bells soon. So happy for you." Now those same people were texting. "Haven't seen you two post lately. Is everything okay? Where's the ring selfie?" I didn't know how to answer. He ghosted me after proposing, sounded like a bad joke. So I smiled through gritted teeth, said, "We're figuring things out," and changed the subject. I cried until my eyes swelled shut. Then the anger came, hot, sharp, relentless. Then something colder settled in my chest. Quiet. The kind of quiet where decisions form without noise. 3 days passed before my hands stopped shaking every time my phone buzzed with a notification that wasn't from him. On the 4th day, I decided to look closer. Not to beg him back, I knew that bridge was burned, but to understand. Why propose if the plan was to vanish? Why use my trust, my money, my heart as stepping stones? I started with the low-hanging fruit. Our shared Netflix account, he'd never bothered to remove me. His recently watched list was a red flag parade, true crime docs about disappearances, cheating scandals, how to vanish without a trace, the art of starting over. One video was literally titled Digital Ghosting, Leave No Trail Behind. I stared at the screen feeling sick. Then the joint credit card. We'd opened it 6 months earlier for wedding expenses. He insisted I add him as an authorized user so he could take care of the deposits while you're busy with work. I trusted him. The statements painted a different picture. $4,200 on a men's Rolex, purchased 2 days after the proposal. Receipt note, gift for self. $1,800 on matching Louis Vuitton suitcases. $3,000 wire transfer to an account labeled M. Reynolds, Consulting Services. My pulse hammered in my ears. Who is M. Reynolds? A quick Google search turned up nothing professional. But Instagram, her profile was public, thank God, showed a woman in her late 20s with sun-kissed skin and perfect beach waves. Photos of tropical getaways, fancy dinners, and there he was in half of them, arm around her waist, smiling like he hadn't just promised me forever. Timestamp on the first joint photo, 3 days after our engagement party. Caption, new chapter, new adventures with my favorite person. The timeline hit like a punch. He'd proposed to me on a Friday. By Monday, he was posting beach selfies with her. The ring I'd worn proudly had been bought with money from our joint account, my savings funneled in to cover deposits. He'd paid off the card balance immediately after the purchase, using funds I'd contributed. He hadn't ghosted out of fear or doubt. He'd proposed to buy time, to keep me quiet and invested while he set up his exit with her. My money funded his new life. My heart funded his lies. I didn't scream. I didn't throw my phone across the room. I sat there in the dark living room, ring still on my finger, and smiled. Small, cold, real. Because screaming is what he expected. Tears, public posts, begging for answers. Drama he could spin to friends as she went crazy. Instead, I chose silence. Silence is powerful. Silence lets you plan. I kept wearing the ring in public. Let it catch the light at coffee shops, work meetings, family dinners. Posted a vague Instagram story, a photo of the city skyline at dusk with the caption, "Sometimes the universe has other plans." Comments flooded in. "Wedding planning stress? You too still good?" I replied with hearts and vague, all good here emojis. Let the world and him, if he was watching through a friend's account, think I was still blissfully engaged, still clueless. Meanwhile, I built my case. Every text where he'd promised reimbursement. "I'll pay you back for the venue hold, babe. Promise. This card is for us, don't worry about it." Vendor emails confirming payments I'd made from my personal savings. $12,400 total for venue deposit, photographer retainer, honeymoon Airbnb booking, even part of the florist consultation. The ring receipt, $8,200 charged to his card, paid off the same day from the joint account. My contributions covered most of it. Bank logs showing the transfers to M. Reynolds, routed through his work email server, against company policy on personal use of corporate resources. Screenshots of his, "I love you forever," messages sent days before he vanished. I organized it all in a folder labeled simply proof, printed hard copies, backed up digitally in 3 places. I met my friend Sarah for coffee one afternoon. She's a lawyer who handles small claims and civil recovery cases, sharp, no nonsense, the kind of person who laughs at bad ex stories because she's seen worse. I laid it all out, no tears, just facts. She read through the folder, eyebrows rising higher with each page. When she finished, she leaned back and laughed, not mockingly, but with genuine amusement. "Alina, this isn't revenge, this is restitution, and maybe a little poetic justice thrown in. You've got a slam-dunk small claims case here. Fraudulent misrepresentation, unjust enrichment, breach of implied contract. He promised to reimburse and use the funds for personal gain with a third party. Easy. We filed the paperwork that week. Claim amount, $15,000 exactly. My out-of-pocket wedding expenses he'd sworn to cover, plus the portion of the ring I'd indirectly funded. Evidence attached in meticulous detail. Court date set for a Thursday in the county where he still had a registered address, his old apartment. Jake confirmed he hadn't updated it. He never showed up. Default judgment entered in my favor. Full amount plus filing fees and interest accruing from the date of filing. I didn't celebrate yet. That was just step 1. Step 2, I assigned the judgment to a specialized collections agency. The kind that handles high-value civil debts with aggressive tools, wage garnishment up to 25% in our state, bank account levies, property liens if he ever owns anything again. They get a percentage, but they don't stop until it's paid. They started the process immediately. Letters, calls, credit report flags. But I wanted more than money. I wanted him to feel the weight of what he'd done. His mother, Diane, had always been my biggest supporter. She called me weekly, sent homemade cookies, cried happy tears at the engagement dinner when he showed her the ring. She treated me like the daughter she'd never had. I drove to her house on a quiet Sunday. Velvet ring box in my purse, folder of evidence under my arm. She opened the door smiling, then saw my face and pulled me inside without a word. We sat at her kitchen table, the same table where we'd planned wedding menus together. I told her everything. Showed her the photos of him with M. Reynolds, the timeline, the transfers, the court judgment. She read in silence. Tears rolled down her cheeks. When she reached the last page, she closed the folder gently. "I raised him better than this," she whispered. "I thought he was different." She took the ring box, held it like it was fragile. "I'll handle this part," she said. A week later, she mailed the ring back to him, tracked shipping, signature required. Included a handwritten note on her monogrammed stationery. "Return to sender. The ring doesn't belong here anymore. As for the interest on all your lies, that's now between you and the courts. I'm ashamed I ever called you my son. Don't contact me again." She also forwarded the entire court packet to his new email, the one he'd used for the transfers. I'd saved it. CC'd M. Reynolds, her public Instagram DMs were open. And most importantly, his boss at the tech consulting firm. Because those wire transfers, they'd gone through his company email server and used a corporate account for consulting fees. Clear violation of ethics policy. Fraud risk. 2 weeks after Diane's package arrived. He lost his job. Termination for misuse of company resources and violation of ethics code. No severance, no reference. M. Reynolds posted a public breakup carousel on Instagram. Old photos of them deleted, new caption, "Some people never change. Lesson learned the hard way." Tagged location, a city 3 states away. Diane changed her phone number, blocked him on everything, told family he was going through something and not to reach out. Last anyone heard, he was crashing on a distant cousin's couch in another state, dodging collection calls, explaining to anyone who'd listen that it was all a big misunderstanding, that I'd overreacted. The settlement came through in full garnishment, hit his final paycheck, then his new part-time gig, wired to my account with interest tacked on. I used the money wisely, put a down payment on a small condo by the water, nothing flashy, just peaceful. Started traveling alone, weekends in the mountains, a solo trip to Italy, the honeymoon spot we talked about. Dated when I felt like it, no rush. Learned to enjoy my own company. Every time I look at my hand, bare now, no ring indentation anymore, I smile. Not a bitter smile, a quiet one. Because I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't chase. I gathered proof. I stayed silent. I let the truth and the system do the talking. Karma doesn't always need fireworks. Sometimes it just needs receipts, a court stamp, and a mother's disappointment. If you're watching this, and you've ever been ghosted after the biggest promise of your life, don't chase. Don't post angry rants. Don't let the humiliation win. Gather your evidence. Stay quiet. Let the consequences build. Because the best revenge isn't loud. It's calm. It's calculated. It's getting back every penny with interest. And then walking away better than before. If you've got a story like this, or survived one, share it in the comments below. Subscribe for more tales of quiet justice. And remember, the ring might be gone, but the power you take back, that stays forever. Thanks for watching Silent Payback Tales. See you in the next one.